Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I'm at Red River Chevrolet, and this is the 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe. This is the RST trim level next to me. Has an exterior color of Empire Beige Metallic with an interior of jet black and Victory Red. And you might not immediately see the Victory Red because it's actually red contrast stitching. That's what the Victory Red is. This particular exterior color is new for 2021, and I will list all of the trim levels and their base prices on the screen so you can take a look at what those are. Of course, got to say a special thanks to my friends here at Red River Chevrolet for giving me access to this model for the day. So let's talk a little bit about the history of the Chevrolet Tahoe. It actually was birthed based on the Chevrolet Blazer of years gone by. Originally, of course, you had that full-size Blazer, is much larger than what we have today and have had in many years, even years gone by when we had the S10 Blazer. And when GMC took the kind of brother or sister model of that, the GMC Jimmy, and they rebadged that as the Yukon, well, then Chevrolet eventually rebadged the S10 Blazer, that smaller version, happened to be my very first vehicle when I was a teenager, as the Tahoe. And this is the 5th generation of the Tahoe. Definitely has been through a lot of changes. In fact, it's been completely remade for 2021. I'm going to show you some very interesting features and functionality and how some things work today. We'll talk a little bit about what's new. And of course, as you can see on the screen right now, obviously the exterior has been completely restyled. And for those keen-eyed observers, you're going to definitely notice that it looks very similar to the current generation of the Chevrolet Silverado that we saw debut for the 2019 model year. And this model does come with premium smooth ride suspension, something you definitely need when you're driving through the state of Louisiana. If you haven't had the experience, then you probably don't understand, but if you have, then you most certainly do. It's a good place to test your suspension out. 22-inch wheels, gonna have these power side view mirrors, got that turn signal indicator built in there. And here at this trim level, you will get side steps, even though they're not the power side steps that come out and go back in, retracting basically when you open and close the doors. And of course, passive entry here for the front and rear doors right there on the door handle itself. When you push that button, you can lock and or unlock the interior. And I say this because I've had people ask before, okay, so you got to have the remote on your person for that to work. In fact, speaking of that, let me show you the remote right here just so you can see what it looks like for 2021. There you go. That's what it looks like. Of course, you do have remote start as well. You can use that to open and or close the rear lift gate if you wish to do that. That is a hands-free lift gate. We're going to take a look at that shortly, but back to that passive entry. I had people ask me, okay, so you got to have that remote on your person to be able to use passive entry. If you're in the vehicle, stopped in traffic, at a red light, at a stop sign, whatever, can somebody just walk up to the vehicle and push that button and open it from the outside and maybe carjack you? The answer is no. The vehicle senses that the remote is inside the vehicle, so when the doors are locked, nobody can just walk up and hit that button and unlock it from the outside. Okay, now that we've opened the hood, let's talk a little bit about what you'll find here. It's the 5.3 liter V8, not that bigger 6.2 liter, but still plenty of horsepower, 355 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque. Well, it's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And estimated gas mileage, 16 miles per gallon city, 20 out on the highway. Direct high pressure fuel injection. For those who may say, what kind of fuel injection does it have? I've had that question in the comments before. Just people asking whether they're playing games and just seeing if I really know what it has. Most people aren't really that concerned about that, but if you are, well, there you go. And of course, can't go without mentioning this. For the price point of this model, you better not raise the hood and have to find that rod that you have to mount in place to hold the hood up. It does have the struts to help out with that, something that is very helpful, very useful, and something that, in my personal opinion, should probably be standard on all vehicles by now. And like I said, you've got this hands-free power rear lift gate. Let that open real quick. And a quick side note for those who may be purchasing one of these models, when you look for that button that allows you to determine whether it's turned off, whether you push it to open it, you can open it all the way or 3/4. It's going to be on the upper console located just above the rear view mirror. Now, as far as cargo space, this does come with a trailering package, so I'll put the numbers on the screen for all of that information. Obviously, there are multiple numbers for how much cargo space you have back here because you have a third row, of course. You can lower these third row seats and the middle row seats. You can do all that automatically here. You can not only lower the rear seats automatically, you can also raise those back up with the buttons here on the right-hand side of the rear cargo area. You can lower the middle row seats with the buttons back here as well, but you have to manually put those back up. Just something to think about. And if you're wondering about a spare tire, it is under the vehicle. In fact, here's a quick view if you're wondering what the underside of a 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe looks like. Well, now you're finding out. It's on the screen. Of course, you can see the spare tire is located underneath the vehicle. You also have storage underneath right here. Let me move this little box out of the way. In fact, I can just put that in the storage area for now. The nice thing about that is that the floor here that conceals this cargo area underneath, when you put that up, it stays in place, and then you just pick up on it just a little bit. You can close that back down. We'll get that box back out of the way. Of course, you've got some tie downs back here on the back of the rear seats. So if you ever need to tie something down, you can do that, whatever the case may be. One other thing that's back here, you have a household outlet right there. If you need to plug something in, you have that option right there where those switches are for lowering and raising these seats. And by the way, you can also lower those middle seats. There are handles on the side of those seats that allow you to do that and a whole lot more. Let's hop up into the interior and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay guys, let's just talk real quick. Of course, first thing you'll notice here, you've got a panoramic sunroof, so something that we haven't seen in previous years of the Tahoe. But like I said, you got a couple of handles here on the side of the seats, on the driver and passenger side here in the middle row. And the first one, if you pull up on that, you can change the position of the seat. That actually makes for a lot of leg room in the rear. I'll show you that real quick and show you around a little bit of what's back there. Got some connectivity and a couple of cup holders. And you also have another latch right behind this one. You can pull up on that handle 2 times. Second time you pull up on it, it allows you to move that out of the way. And there's a couple of other ways you can do that. See this little handle right here you can grab. Do that. The rear seat passenger, or if you're just trying to get into the vehicle, you can do that. Allows you to move it up and out of the way. There's also a button on the inside of the interior. In fact, let me put this back up here. You push that button, the rear seat passengers, maybe whoever's in the middle hops out and leaves them kind of stranded back there, although you've got a pass through right here, but it's a whole lot easier to get out by simply doing this. I'm just going to hold that button down. I'm going to hold it down a second time. Let go, release, hold it down a second time. It's going to fold it all the way up. And of course, that's very easy to put back into place. And of course, let's move that back. I'm going to hop up in here real quick here, make sure I get my microphone out of the way so it doesn't pop off. There we go. Got a nice amount of space here. Tri-zone climate control, so you can control everything here on the rear of the console for the rear seat passengers in each row. Got some connectivity down there and even another one of those household power outlets down there. If you wish to use that, that's 2 that we've seen so far. You can really power quite a few things here, not only through USB, got 9 or 12 volt, 9 volt. Boy, did I ever give the correction Nazi something to work with on that one. 12 volt power outlet. I'm not retaking this scene, by the way, but anyway, as you can see, got air conditioning vents up here. Everybody basically has their own here in the middle and in those rear seats. But here is something that I think is really cool. You'll notice the screens on the back of the headrests here. Basically, there's a lot you can see, whether it's navigation, you can adjust how the different connectivity ports work back here, all kinds of good stuff. You can even, if you have a compatible device, depending, it'll give you a warning that some Android and Apple phones are not compatible, but if they are, you can basically mirror that. It's called Miracast. You can mirror that onto the screen, and there's a lot of things you can do. Apparently there's a way where you can use these screens to send information to the main screen in the front, that infotainment screen up there. So some really cool features back here. I like what Chevrolet has done. And of course, quite a bit of storage. You've got an upper and a lower door bin on each door here. Of course, those typical map pockets here on the back of the seats. And of course, if you want to move the seats back and forth, you can. As you can see right there, you can also recline using that second handle that I showed you earlier that says pull 2 times on it. Quite a few nice features here, but let's hop into the front. There's a couple of things I want to go over there. If you have been driving, whether it's a Tahoe or whatever the case may be, and you're saying, man, I'm just not comfortable, I'm going to tell you how to fix that. Okay guys, let's talk a little bit about what you're going to find here and some of the amenities that you might want to know about as far as making sure you as the driver are comfortable. You don't have to worry about somebody coming in and changing the settings on your seat, all that good stuff. So obviously, as I give you a little bit of a tour here on video, you can see what's changed. Obviously, everything over here for controlling the headlights and all that good stuff. You've got power parking brake and all those good features there. You can see the dashboard has changed, the steering wheel has changed. This is a nice comfortable steering wheel right here. Got all those great features you're probably used to, and of course seat memory. And let's talk a little bit about these power seats here in the front, specifically the driver's seat. If you want to be comfortable, take some time and just get everything set the way you want it. The seat back, the height of the seat, lumbar support, all that good stuff. Take your time. That's really important. Of course, that goes across all vehicles. Steering wheel, of course, that's power adjustable, tilt and telescopically. The button for that is located on the left-hand side of the steering column. Get that all set, mirrors everything. And then here's what you can do. Of course, you can set your seat memory for the driver that way. But here's something even better. A couple of nice settings here. If you find yourself, maybe you like to be kind of close to everything and have the seat up, but then that makes it a little more challenging because maybe the steering wheel kind of lower down and it's a little harder to get out and you don't want to have to always readjust everything. Here is a hack for that. You're going to go into settings, go over here to vehicle, and then you're going to go to seating position. And there's 2 different selections here. You've got seat entry memory. When you turn that on, what happens is it's based off of the remote. So you got to make sure you have the correct remote. Obviously you get 2 with the vehicle. You got the right one. You're going to walk up to the vehicle, it's going to sense that remote, and it's going to automatically set everything I just told you about back in place. You don't have to worry about doing anything. Now, what about getting out? You also have seat exit memory. That's the second selection here. You can turn that on. And what that means is when you turn the ignition off, you open the door, you go to get out of the vehicle, everything is going to basically retract to a pre-desired setting. And how do you set that? Not here on the infotainment screen. It's going to be here on the door panel itself. The easiest way to describe that, you've got seat memory 1, seat memory 2. So you're going to hold down the button underneath the 1. You're going to hear a beep, and then you're going to hold down the button on the right underneath that 2. You're going to hear it beep twice. That means you set it. Here's what it does. 1 beep, 2 beeps. That means everything is set. So when you go to get out of the vehicle, everything's going to be set for your seat exit memory. Very, very nice feature. And what else has changed here? Obviously, you can see that the infotainment screen has obviously changed. It's a floating screen now, not really recessed into the dashboard like it used to be, kind of in the dashboard. Also, something else, and I'm curious to get your feedback on this. No more column shifter right here. You've got the push button shifter here, and here's how everything works. Push for park, pull for reverse, push for neutral, pull for drive. And basically it's just every other one like that, just so you know. Of course, you've got the multiple views with the cameras around the vehicle. Of course, you've got all those great features as far as the safety features, the driving aids. Maybe you're stepping out of a smaller vehicle, an SUV or even a sedan, into something like this full-size Tahoe and saying to yourself, I don't know how I'm going to get used to parking that thing. It's easier than it's ever been. You'll adjust quickly. Those aids are going to help you, and depending on the trim level, of course, you can have more than just what we have here. Of course, you've got more controls underneath here. Air conditioning, vents, all that stuff. Your dual zone climate control, like I said, it is tri-zone climate control, so dual in the front, single for the rear. And one thing that I want to point out here, you're going to notice a little compartment here to the right-hand side of the infotainment screen area here on the dashboard. And if you're wondering what exactly is that, you'll notice there's no glasses holder here up with the upper console. That's because that's what this is right here, right above the button for the hazard lights, if you're wondering about that. Of course, wireless charging, more connectivity right here, including that 12-volt power outlet that I referenced earlier, a couple of cup holders. And I always talk about the multitaskers. Well, here's another one here. It's the lid for the console. That's also going to double as the armrest for the driver and passenger, and a whole lot of space down in here. More connectivity options there. And if you folded the shirts just right, how many Vehicle Visionary t-shirts could you fit in this console? I'm going to guess a good 15, maybe a few more, depending on how you fold those. So obviously we talked about the fact that you've got that special suspension to help have a smooth ride. Let's get out on the road and find out exactly how this model handles and how it drives. Okay guys, let's get out on the road for a quick test drive here with the Tahoe. And one of the first questions you might want to have answered: which engine, as far as the V8 goes, should you opt for? Well, both have plenty of power. Obviously, the 6.2 liter is going to have more, but the 5.3 is not exactly hurting for horsepower. It gets you down the road just fine. I'm just kind of easing into the gas pedal just a little bit and picking up plenty of speed. Now, obviously, no cargo, not towing a trailer, don't have any passengers, but you've got more than enough power to where in those situations you're still not going to have a hard time getting down the road without any problem. You got all the horsepower, all the torque, plenty of power. That 10-speed automatic transmission is going to make things work very well as far as putting horsepower to the ground. And even though we're not on a really bad road here, I do have to admit that the ride quality is superb. I drive this road a lot. Depending on what you're driving in, it may not look that bad, but you definitely notice some bumps that I'm flat out not noticing here. And as far as handling goes, well, it's a Tahoe. It's a large SUV, but of course you've got plenty of safety features that are going to help you to stay good and safe, stability control and all that good stuff. It feels really stable on the road, even going through some of the corners that I drove through earlier before I turned the camera on were pretty sharp. I didn't feel unstable. You know, the years of driving a vehicle, especially something like this, the way they're built now, the way everything's engineered and set up, it's going to be very stable. It's not going to have that body roll to it that you would have had in the past, at least not to that degree. Of course, it's not a hot rod. It's not meant to be thrown into a corner at a high rate of speed by any means. But when you're cruising down the road, let's let this guy change lanes here. I was going to go around him. We'll let him change lanes. That's an unusual sight, by the way, guys, here in Northwest Louisiana. Somebody actually using their blinker. Don't see that too often. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled program. You definitely feel a lot more stable. You don't have that kind of uneasy feeling, top heaviness, so to speak, that you would have in the past. And handling is very good. Visibility is good. Of course, you've got blind spot monitoring, and it's really easy to drive. And I'm just going to ease into the pedal just a little bit here to see about acceleration. I didn't even get maybe to quarter throttle. You could see when I passed that F-150 in the right-hand lane back there, wasn't a problem. I'm going to slow back down here. Everything here, very easy to use. Now, a lot of you, I know, I did a Tahoe video, it was probably late 2020, and talked about the new shifter that you'll find here on the dashboard. Don't have that column shifter anymore, and got a lot of different responses from different people. Some saying, you know, they are looking forward to using it. Some who flat said they just don't like it. They've already tried it. Tell me what you think. What are your thoughts on that push button shifter there on the dashboard. But I can tell you right now, it's like anything else. It doesn't take long to get used to. It's very easy to use, very easy to learn. So overall, I must say, Chevrolet, in my opinion, has done a very good job with what they have done with the redesigned 2021 Tahoe. Okay, for those of you who have stuck around to this point in the video, thank you very much. Here's a little bonus material for you, and I apologize if the sun is an issue, but let's talk turning radius. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the steering wheel all the way to the left. Let's see how well, I don't know if you can tell how well this Tahoe is turning, but it's actually got a very tight turning radius. Hopefully you can see that on the screen and see how well a vehicle of this size actually turns. That is impressive. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this tour of the 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe RST. Gotta thank my friends here at Red River Chevrolet, especially Diane, the Corvette lady. She got me the keys to this model so we could take a look at it today, and I hope you enjoyed it. As always guys, I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a great day guys. Bye-bye.